You are now tuning in to Lex and RDDC broadcast station, serving up on the double doses for us all.
Welcome back to the Real Double Dose channel. This is your host, Lex, coming to you straight from the heart where the talk is real. Thank you for tuning in with us again, because here, serving a slice of everyday life is what RDC is. For any show requests, feedback, or anything under the sun that you can think of, get a hold of us at Real Double Dose channel at yandex.com. That's YANDEX.com, and as well as realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com. And we do have that .com ready with your apparel, your hats, and so much more, and the movement of the Hearts Foundation that is going to be helping the souls of all those from behind the walls and outside the walls. Just want to thank you for your love and support. And for those of you who have signed up for the vacation and travel giveaways, thank you so much. You can use that after the COVID-19. I know a lot of people are freaking out, but they do not expire for at least up to 4 years with the companies that are promoting this, and as well as your free gift card giveaways. We thank you for that. So if you're not, and we see that you are, thank you for tuning in at TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker.com, Blueberry.com, Spotify, Deezer, Google Cast, iTunes, iHeart, SoundCloud, and there's pretty much too much to keep going on with that, but you know where the links are. Just find them out. So without further ado, we have our next guest expert. Wonderful. And I'm just really juicing over there because it's amazing. This is Michelle Jewsbury, and she is just amazing. She's on fire, okay? Is an international philanthropist, speaker, author, and coach who has traveled the world, and as an advocate for the last and the less fortunate. And I say the last because at the same time, we're going to make people more fortunate. And that's her mission. In August 2016, Michelle focused her efforts on ending domestic violence. Fact check, yes. Her desire to help victims of domestic abuse came from personal experience and such a, basically the relationship that all of us keep talking about and inquiring about the different things that we're all going through. In July 2017, Michelle founded Unsilenced Voices, and that's a 501c3 nonprofit focused on inspiring change in communities around the globe by encouraging victims to break free and survivors to speak up. Yes, she has since completed and published her personal memoir, But I Love Him, recognized as a valuable resource in the speaking industry. Michelle Jewsbury is the go-to professional, and I say that very, very bluntly, speaker who uses her story of survival as encouragement and motivation for many, many others. And I am happy, we are happy, the six of us, and the thousands, I'm pretty sure, I know we're all family, to have you on here, Michelle. So how are you, my dear? And thank you for being on here.
Oh, thank you so much. I am super, super excited to share my story and hopefully give inspiration to your listeners, especially in this day and age. So, Lex, I really, really appreciate being on Real Double Dose, and super, super excited about some of these questions that I know you have for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. My brain is just ticking away. I can't even imagine. To me, this is what I call the superhero squad. To me, in my eyes, that's what I call a superhero. Hashtag speak up. That's what it is, too. And someone who's doing something about it at the same time. And, from everything that's going on as a whole, I have broken off in my own silence from a lot of, quote, I thought were friendships and relationships, just off the generalism of being able to see people's minds now that you have time to sit still. That kind of thing. I'm just saying. Yeah. So when you mention or when it's mentioned in the different things that you do, obviously domestic violence, that always kind of punches the throat right there, because there's so many things going on, especially a lot of people have experienced deaths, and a lot more has been intensified since the COVID-19 happened, when people have to sit at home and be together, and a little bit more stressful, obviously, and different things going on, but it is definitely a story. So how has everything got a chance to kind of come together in the unraveling of your focused story or the mission that you're on to?
Yeah. I will give a bit of backstory, but it is interesting how you talked about how we're trapped at home, because domestic violence and abuse cases in general, not just, woman on man, woman on woman, man on man, whatever that looks like, but even child abuse cases have gone significantly higher because of this COVID-19 pandemic and the stay-at-home order that we're all facing.
Oh, yeah.
So it is so imperative and important to be able to give resources out to some of these victims who need help right now, and they don't know what to do because they are trapped at home. So a bit about me is in 2012. I mean, we can go from the childhood, but that could take an hour. So let's not do that, right? So fast forward my life.
Speak your heart, Michelle. Speak your heart. Speak your heart.
So I moved to California roughly 2011. And the end of that year, I end up connecting with a really handsome, blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy who just kind of swept me off my feet.
Oh.
And in 2012, we began dating, and about 4 months into our relationship, my head went through the wall.
Oh.
And oftentimes I say that, I speak about that all the time. That's always a lead-in to what my point is.
Yeah.
But the reason why I lead in with that is I want people to understand that the abuse, the manipulation, the psychological manipulation, abuse, and just torment in general starts early on, and the physical violence then goes after, it comes right after. And then the violence and the manipulation repeats over and over and over again. So my head went through the wall 4 months into the relationship, but I didn't even understand it was domestic violence. I just thought that I had triggered Paul. I call him Paul. I triggered him. It was my fault. I felt that, maybe he just had one too many drinks, or maybe he was just too stressed at work. So I internalized it. And the first thought that went through my head was, wow, I just got to patch the wall. Well, if you fast forward that relationship, I stayed with Paul for roughly 4 years.
Oh,
and,
wow.
I endured a lot of physical violence, sexual violence, lots of emotional manipulation, and financial abuse. A lot of people don't understand that when somebody controls your finances, completely controls your finances, that's a form of abuse as well. So after escaping that relationship, I literally sat in front of my computer, and I knew I had to get it out of me. So I just started typing. I started just documenting what happened to me. And then I had the aha moment of, wow, this is a lot worse than I remember it being, or this is a lot worse than, wow, I just can't believe it's myself, reading it back to me. And when I did that, it kind of came out in a play format. So I wrote and performed a 65-minute solo show called But I Love Him, which is the same title as my book, and performed that in the 2016 Whitefire Solo Fest, and again in the Hollywood Fringe Festival. And that's when people started coming up to me and saying, it's so great that you're speaking up about what happened to you, because we can relate. So many people, men, women, even teenagers started coming up to me and just crying, that they were in a domestic abuse relationship, and now they feel confident in leaving. So I knew that I had to do more, and from there I ended up starting Unsilenced Voices in July of 2017, and we're in Ghana and Sierra Leone, Africa. We're going to be starting in Rwanda. We're a fiscal sponsor for an organization in Nepal and also the Netherlands, and we're also expanding to the United States. We're supposed to have our first in-person event earlier this year, but it seems that it's going to be later this year because of course, COVID.
Yeah.
And then I published my first book, But I Love Him, and it's my personal memoir about my experience, and I published that last year, and then I now speak on stages all over the world. Right now, most of those are virtual stages. My last in-person stage was in Egypt in March, and I actually got stuck on that side of the world for a little bit, trying to get back into the United States. But I made it back. So that's kind of me in a nutshell, Lex.
That's beautiful. Wow. And when you said, but I love him the first time, it does strike your chord. I mean, it strikes your chord to how many people will say, man, that's like having your head go through that wall, like to actually do that. And you would think, I mean, a lot of people will say, let me revert to this, or piggyback off of it. When you had said about people don't know financial abuse, I think it was Dr. Rita Louise she mentioned that, like, and towards the ending of the show, I think it was a few weeks ago, and I was like, financial abuse. I thought about that, and I'm like, yeah, the quote breadwinners are the people who have that, where you're like, hey, here's a couple $100, here's what you got $20 left over if you're lucky. From that,
in my case, what was really crazy is Paul had me quit my job and move in with him. So he was in a different part of California than I live in now. I live in Los Angeles, and I was trapped just with him. I didn't have any friends. He isolated me. It's a tactic for narcissistic abusers for sure. And he literally took away my expenses. Like, he took my credit cards, he took everything. He added his name to everything. I wasn't allowed to drive my car unless he said it was okay. Like, it was really nuts. And a lot of people know me personally from being on stage, and I'm very open. I am, you can ask me any question, and I will be as open and honest as I possibly can. And many people, are just like, wow, I can't believe that you stayed that long, because you don't seem like that type of woman. And what's so crazy to me is a lot of people misjudge what domestic violence looks like, because they depict victims being from a lesser class, or poor, or in poverty, or a lot of these other factors that aren't actually true. My abuser was very, very successful, made hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and he still controlled me. I mean, if I spent $200 at the grocery store, I would get a scolding. So it is, in the upper echelons of everyday life. It's in our politicians, a lot of our people who rule the countries, who rule our states. There's domestic violence everywhere, in big corporations. So people just need to learn how to recognize it, address it, and then of course change that behavior.
Wow, man, I can just see, I can sit in front of you right now with a bowl of popcorn and just stay there. I could just do it like you can. Or winter time comes over here in lovely Minnesota for now. Yeah. I mean, my life started, or should I say, when I tell people I died in California. So by the time I left Fresno, in that area, it was kind of like my whole thing changed. And it's funny because the most fruitful light of my life now is from LA. He's Mr. Los Angeles guy. And he's just the sweetest thing, where I'm thinking, man, that I pinch myself, because I feel like I've only attracted narcissistic, psychotic people. And I tell people, before all that happened, it was a whole series of things that had led me to California and got me hoodwinked to be 2,000 something miles away from anything I ever known. Like you said, isolation and the psychoticness. I can think it's happening now, because I had it before, but I had to illuminate into who I am now. But it was the same way. It was like I had a coaching call for him. If I was in the store for 2 minutes, it would be like, why are you in the frickin' store? Why aren't you home? And I would freak out. If my phone rang and I was in drive-thru, I would pull off, even if I paid without the food. And people are like, what do you mean? You look like this strong individual. And then I'm like, what does that have to do? I'm like, my sister, and it's probably on, I don't even know how many since 2018 now, but that's what happened to her. I mean, even though we had childhood abuse and different things happening, it's just to the point, when you have, some people categorize it sexual abuse, rather abuse of both of them. Hers, even though she tried to translate that into being a nurse and fueling it for 15 years, she still wound up taking her life on 2018. 2018 on my birthday, April 9th.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when you said and I appreciate that completely. But when you say domestic abuse, I tell people it's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Like,
it is.
Yeah, like people are like, oh, she was a wonderful nurse and all this. She took care of people and the elderly. I'm like, yeah, but she wasn't taking care of herself. And then the person she was with for 18 years made sure he made her the nuttiest person. And she was like, I knew my sister was gone. But at the same time, like, just hearing that on my birthday night, waking up, I knew it already. I had my shoes on before my mother could finish her sentence when I was over there for the birthday. So I was, it was just like getting her by all that stuff. So I told people, I'm like, at that point right there, they have to really look at the whole spectrum of it. It is real. It is very real. And I'm glad that you're speaking up about it, like, for real. Seriously.
Yeah, no, it is very real. And I oftentimes, so I do a lot of coaching and deal with clients who have dealt with trauma, many of them domestic violence, but a lot of it stems from early childhood education through what they've learned, whether it be through their family, their friends, nature-nurture controversy. But if you don't get out your emotions as an adult, so this is for all of the listeners out there who have had traumatic experiences happen to you. If you don't get that out, whether it be on paper, writing, whether it be, going out and screaming at God on a hike, but just getting it out of you. If you don't get it out, it comes out in physical and or emotional ailments when you get older. So meaning that people will have autoimmune disorders, chronic stress, chronic fatigue, headaches, pain, you name it. So all of these factors that we like to say, oh, it's from your eating habits, or, you're just not exercising enough. Most of those ailments are due to mental illnesses. They're due to our anxiety, our grief, all of the stress that we've had, all of the experiences that we have had up until the point where we are now. I'm 36, so up until 36. And if I don't get out some of these traumatic experiences in my life, like when I was left, for 4 months when I was young at 7 years old, that had a traumatic experience on my life. And if I don't write about that, or if I don't talk to a therapist about that type of stuff, then it will definitely come out in ailments. And when that happens, then it's hard to regulate yourself. It's easier to fall victim in another abusive relationship, because everything is cyclical. I mean, we're looking at our world, our history right now. We are repeating history as we speak. So that's not just, as a whole world, as a human population, but also as an individual. We repeat our experiences if we don't fix them. So the saying, what is it? If you expect something different, you can't keep doing the same things.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you want the same results, keep doing what you're doing. No, that's what I say, but I don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is. You have to make a change, and that change oftentimes is speaking up, using your voice, doing movement therapy, plays, writing. I do a lot of hiking. I've been having a lot of stress lately because of some family issues, and then my mom died a year ago, and her 1 year death day. Thank you. Her 1 year death day is Sunday. So it's just, it's getting out there. So I went on like a 7-mile hike, kicked my butt yesterday, but I needed that. I needed to reconnect with nature, reconnect with my God, reconnect with myself in order to stay healthy, in order for me to be there for me, yes, but also be there for other people.
Yeah. I mean, that's a breath taker, especially mom. That's why I used to call, I worry about that with, we all worry about that with our parents, but then, because people are like, well, how, and what is one thing I just want to say, this might be off key or key, but it pisses me off when people ask questions, and I know it's natural. Maybe I've done it before, I don't remember, but they'll be like, well, how close were you? My gosh. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, I used to call her, my sister used to call her my mom, because my mom gave me to her when I was little. She said, in the hospital, I handed you to your sister and said, here's your baby. And she goes, my baby. So when we got older, I'd be like, can I go to the store? Mom said no, but she was like, yeah, just go, get out of my hair. So I was like, and my mom would be like, didn't I tell you nothing? I'm like, she said I could go. So, so it was
That's
funny.
adorable.
So I was like, okay, and it's funny too, Michelle, because the same people, like you were saying, we keep getting the same thing, the same recipe, and I keep saying that the same ripple effect of, and that's why I was kind of nervous when I call him Cariño, but at the same time, it's like when he came into my life, I call him Mr. LA, I found officially, but he was kind of like, I was scared. I was like, why is this guy polite? Why is he not being like, where is this thing coming up? When is it going to pop out, this narcissistic behavior? I'm just almost waiting for it, but I didn't want to call it into existence. But at the same time, I wanted this the whole time. And I noticed I never caught myself when the moments happened. And I almost seemingly pushed people like that away and went to what I knew was unhealthy. So I got a whole, I'm going to call him Mr. Narcy. Mr. Narcy, he got a hold of me from California. And I think it was about maybe a month or two ago. And when I heard his voice, I kid you not, I almost felt like a little kid running in the corner. I felt worse talking to him than I did as a 5-year-old kid being sexually abused. Like I felt worse speaking to him because he was like, hey, I've changed now. Can we be together? And I'm like, oh my goodness, are you seriously telling me from physical, mental, emotional, and everything abusive sinful to spiritual nature and beyond, I'm supposed to just say, okay, let me drop my life and just carry on. When you had me so terrified, I couldn't even swallow. I mean, he would call me at 5 a.m. in the morning and go, hey, why aren't you awake? I'm like, I was sleeping. He's like, wake up, and just scream, you know, and I would be like, okay. And I would just be sitting on the side of the bed at 5 a.m. and I was just scared to sleep. I was scared to sleep until he went to sleep. And it was amazing, like how much. And when I came out of that 3-day death, I called, because I mean, literally the picture I sent to my mom back from California, she thought I was in the morgue, so she had to call. She thought someone had got my phone and sent me pictures of a dead body. That's how frail, blue, and just pale and fetal position I was. Something told me, just get your camera and take a photo. I don't even know why, but I know why now. So when you say all the writing and all the stuff to kind of get it out of your system, people don't believe that. I tell them, I'm like, man, what's up with this? But when I got a chance to come back on that track on the train and realize everything that went on, I went out to the college. It was like kind of a college campus forest every morning. And I remember just walking into like the nearby woods, and I would let the pen write for me. And then after that, that's when I came with the illumination. So yeah, writing definitely pours that out of your mind, your heart. It gets it out to where it should be. And it definitely helps you speak up even when you feel like you don't have the physical voice to do so.
The sentences don't have to make any sense whatsoever. You can just take a journal, go to the beach, and just write stream of conscious. And what that means is, you know, just words that come to your brain, you just put them on paper, and you'll reread it and going like, what the heck? I can't even understand my own writing. But just putting it down, that is a form of just exerting all of this energy out, and all of this negative energy out on the paper, you know. So it's like a transfusion or I don't know the word.
I know what you're trying to say. I know what you're trying to say. I forgot what transmission?
Exactly. So
no,
like,
not transmission.
Yeah. So you're just transferring, the feelings.
Oh, transference, maybe.
Yeah, transference, and then you feel so much better. Like therapists need therapists, right? Yeah. So I talk to my therapist still a lot, especially during this time because I am dealing with family things right now, and you know, he's like, take a notepad and go down to the beach and just write. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I need to do what I tell other people to do. And I do that most of the time, but I haven't for a little while. And so I listened and I went and I cried and I felt so much better. It's so crazy how much better you feel when you actually get to express yourself and get to actually speak up and get this stuff out of your body. I know we keep repeating that, and we don't have to stay on that subject, but I mean, that's what Unsilenced Voices is all about. We encourage people to speak up, because if you don't speak up, then nothing's going to change.
Exactly. Well, you know what? I mean, honestly, universally, we are speaking about it because it's such a deep it's a constructiveness, because at the same time, people are dealing with this even more so right now in the moment. Then on top of that, I mean, from getting a chance to have the opportunity, I call it the opportunity instead of the dealing, but being able to have that, especially with those who can't physically be out here, it's even more when you're in the confines of not being able to express yourself.
And not even abuses right now. I mean, people are just anxious, anxiety stricken and fear. And, we're looking at the unknown. And during this pandemic, we're in a crazy time, and people are scared to death. Yeah. And a lot of that needs to come out as well. I mean, especially if you've had trauma, if you've had abuse in your past, you definitely need to be able to express yourself. But even per se, I'm putting quotes around this, regular people, because there's no such thing.
Exactly.
There's people who are still struggling. That need uplifting and help and encouragement. So yeah, when you speak up, it really does change the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of people, for sure.
It's like that song, "We All Need Someone to Lean On."
Yeah, I love that song.
Just call on your brother. From that, because I saw this little video, and I saw this little girl. She was just the cutest little caramel drop I have ever seen, with the longest curls. And her dad had put the video on her. I think she had maybe about 7 or 8. And he goes, "Honey, why are you crying?" And she goes, "Not only did I get beat up when I was at school, now I'm scared to go outside because of how I look." And I said, that's what you're saying. The anxiety between the unknowns things, different things going on. Hashtag life's problems. So many things. And then you're looking at it from so many spectrums. I tell people will email and tell Angela's like, well, we had some guests. They'll say, I feel like I'm having an identity crisis because now I'm living an unknown path. I don't know who to be each day because I had so many identities out there in society. And I'm like, yeah, you have an identity when you go to the store or certain stores, and you have certain people that you connect with at the store. You have everyone's conversation. Someone might say, Michelle, remember when I told you that my uncle was coming into town? Yeah, sure. The next time you go down to the road or the restaurant, hey, Michelle, remember when I told you I was baking that cake? You have so many alternate realities that we have to deal with. And then we have to jump back into our reality and then realize not even the cortisol, everything else affecting our health. Like you said, just people dealing with, one of my friends has extreme anxiety. And he just finds himself nibbling on nutty butters and snack cakes like crazy. And he's like, I'm going to explode, Lex. I don't know what to do. And that was just yesterday. And I'm like, please put the nutty butters down. I just told him, just take a break for a minute. I don't care how much you can handle, but the calories, just relax. But it does. It gets you to that point where they feel like they're going to explode. When I just go to the gas station, I feel like, man, whose eyes are on me and why? What are they thinking? What did I do? And I'm like, just chill, relax. But yeah, it's a heavy slammer.
There's 7 billion people on this planet. So if Joe down the street looks at you funny or they say a comment, they don't rule the world. That's one person out of 7 billion people. So that's another thing, if people say sly things, then don't listen to them. And then if you do, then write it down so you can get it out and then just move on, because people like that who put you down, they don't matter in your life. The world, our lives are so short on this planet.
Yes.
So short. And we have to not worry about what other people think all the time. Sure, we're all a little narcissistic. We're all, especially with social media. And, we all have, self-esteem issues and this and that. But you have to realize that, your little block that you live on and the people that you associate with are just a handful of people that live on this planet. So you matter. You matter for sure, and you are enough.
Hashtag you matter and hashtag we are enough. Yes, what? That's what it is, though, because most people are, you drive around, you're looking at each other's headlights at night, but you don't see the person who's driving. Yeah. You just see the headlights going on, and the light glares in there just for a moment. You can see them, but you're too busy looking at the road so you don't crash. Really, that's what it comes down to. And like you said, the world is so big, so many things, and that's what I saw as my sister when she told me, oh, you went to California? Oh, I want to travel more. He promised me, Lex, promise me you're going to keep traveling and doing the things I didn't do. And I'm like, why is she saying this? Because I'm like, she would be 40 on January 5th, 2021. So yeah, so she died, she passed away, right after she turned 38. I believe 38. So I'm like, man, I got so upset because I'm like, you didn't even give life a try. Like, you lived in this bubble with all the stuff we went through, and I'm thinking this 18-year relationship with this crazy psycho. I'm like, this marriage with him and your 2 beautiful children, and now my niece looks at me like, wow, like, what to do. So I'm sitting here and I thought about that. I'm like, her bubble was so small. Her window was so small not to see. She could see the endless possibilities for me, but she wouldn't allow herself at the same time. And I know some of the listeners might say, okay, well, Lex, I've tried everything, or Michelle, I'm doing everything. At the same time, there's always something more that's out there.
It's perspective, right? So if you live in the ocean, your perspective is water and you don't know what is above the sea, okay? If you live on an island, then the people around you or the environment around you is all you see. But then if you go up and say you put a drone, and you say you put it, 100 feet, 200 feet in the sky, and then you see that perspective, and you get to see hundreds of houses, and you get to see multiple people walking around. Your perspective keeps growing, and then you get in a plane, and then you travel, and then you fly to different continents, and you see different people. Perspective starts to change when when you put yourself in different areas, when you see things through other people's eyes. This is why empathy is so important. Empathy is arguably the most important trait that you need for the 21st century. And it's because without empathy, we will continue seeing the cycle of abuse, the cycle of manipulation, the cycle of trauma, the cycle of war. But if you change your perspective, then we will actually see sustainable change worldwide. And that's what we're all going for. So we have to be able to be empathetic with other people, see them where they are, help them, be that hand that lends a helping hand, and then we can actually see sustainable change. We can end human trafficking, we can end abuse, we can end child abuse, we can end domestic violence. All of these negative things can be put to an end, and it's just going to take work, but it's empathy and changing of perspectives.
Changing of perspectives, and I want people to hear that very clear. Changing of perspectives, and floating on that, since I know after over 7,500, just, in that retrospect, in like less than a year, almost 8,000 emails, I've heard some personalities and some attitudes towards different things. So I just wanted to say that again. Perspectives, everybody. Yeah. I just wanted to say, we got a lot of love. We're 80% love, 20% questions of wanting to say something else. And we appreciate that. But I look into the creativity.
So what's so important, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I do want to say this. What's so important is that when you talk to somebody else and they have a different perspective than you, don't automatically get into an argument or a fight with them. Listen to their ideas, their opinions,
absolutely,
their methodologies, and you can still disagree, but you don't need to start a war or start an argument or start a fist fight with this person because you don't necessarily see eye to eye. It's so important to have different perspectives so you can put together your own world.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. And at the same time, I look at too, like when people say, well, what was the difference between, your sister? Because, we're basically, I think she was about 4 years older than me. But at the same time, I was like, I said the difference I see is not just strength, because I believe a person has the choice to do as they would like to do. With their time here on this earth. And that's what my grandma always said. We can't, people have a right to be the way they are. They have a right to choose the way they are, except when it's imposing on another person's quality or way of life. But at the same time, I look at it like when I wanted to do something, I'd be like, hey, let's do this. Let's do this. When people ask me, is it because you're an Aries? And I'm like, maybe. Well, how do you do your books? And how do you do talking to people? And how do you do the women in the men's facility? How are you going to talk to 2.3 million people behind the wall? And how do you do this? And I'm like, I don't know how it's done. I just know that I was given it to do. Like that's how I don't know the how a watch works. I just put it on and make it work. Like I just I know how to put the battery. So I started bringing everything in my own. I use my imagination to help myself get out of that mental cycle as a child when I was like, why is this happening? What's going on? Is it my fault? Then as I grew up, I'm like, okay, I just never had a perception of what I was. I just thought I was a sex object. I mean, my mind, from not my mother's wisdom, but just from how I view men, I was thinking, even though my brother and I are very close, I still looked at myself like, well, maybe I'm just here to deliver what they need. I have to be someone that they need, from however they want, and when they're ready to dispose of me, that's what it is. So I never knew it was going to come to the point of where I found myself in that situation, because I was always kind of an OCD freak, where I had to be like, where'd the penny go? Let's make sure the gas is full. Did you go over here and put the, air in the tire? And I was like, man, I'm such a tedious person. But then all of a sudden I'm like, well, maybe it's supposed to be the way the man's in charge. But that was a whole nother level. But creativity saved me. I will say that.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about child abuse and human trafficking for hours and hours and hours. I mean, we're partnering with a lot of organizations in the U.S. that deal with human trafficking. We are starting to go down that realm to end that type of violence. And, when you're sexually abused as a young child or a young adult, that is a form of trafficking. And I know a woman here in Los Angeles who was trafficked for 10 years up and down the 405 freeway. And it is crazy. You start to think that maybe you are that object for these men and that is your role. but it's not. There's 18 million kids worldwide that are trafficked, according to the Child Liberation Foundation.
Wow.
And there's over 200,000 in the United States alone. And the number one consumer of human trafficking worldwide are white male citizens. So we have to stop the Johns from purchasing sex is what we have to do. Prostitution is actually a form of human trafficking. Yeah. So there's a lot that we could go down on that route for sure. But I want to say something funny real fast. I mean, no wonder why we get along. You're an Aries. My daddy was an Aries.
Yeah, yeah. Go, daddy. Go, daddy. But, what is your sign?
Leo.
Oh, that's why. I see me and Leo are just like water. We're just like cousins. Stop.
Yeah, that works.
Both fire signs. There we go.
Yeah, my daddy and I got along so well. I miss him so much.
I love it.
but you had mentioned, Lex, something really important. We have a choice. We actually have free will. God gave us free will.
Amen.
To make our choices every single day. And, sometimes you wake up and you feel like crap and you don't make positive choices throughout your day. You end up drinking too much, or you end up overeating, or you don't leave the house and you don't get any exercise. But you can make a different choice tomorrow. You can make a different choice now. You can draw the line in the sand and make different choices for your life today. And, this is for abusers out there as well. You have a choice to not purchase children. You have a choice to not abuse your wife. You have a choice to walk away from a situation instead of lifting your hands. You have a choice to give yourself a couple of minutes to calm your nerves so you can have a civil conversation. And that's what's so important. Even with my ex-abuser, I hope that he heals. I've reached a point in my life where, I was beat to a pulp like 2 or 3 different times where, 4 hours, black glue. I mean, there was one time I looked like I had completed 10 rounds in a boxing match, and my face was just awful. I had a huge black eye, and, I was sexually assaulted by him. And it's to the point now where hurt people. So he has to heal. Well, in order for him to heal, I mean, there's a whole 5-step process. I know we don't have too much time. There's a whole 5-step process that we teach, but the first step is recognition. Recognizing. It's just like you were saying with perception. Recognize what you're going through. Because if you can see it, if you recognize it, if you address the first step in any 12-step process, it's accepting, recognition, and understanding what you're going.
Yes.
Once you see that, then you can make change.
Yes. I'm sorry. I love that. That was very, very pungently powerful. I love that. I mean, I'm telling people, I tell them like, oh man, no, I am off the wall because it's off the chain. That's what it is. I mean, acceptance, it really is, because if you look at that, like, you have to hurt people. Well, I did an episode about that maybe like a year ago now. It's still up there, but it's hurt people. And I was telling them, they're like, no, I don't want to love because love hurt. I said, no, love does never hurt you in your world. Love will never hurt you. It's people who don't know how to love that hurts you. So when you hear the word, I love you, you start feeling like love is hurt because you're connecting it with what you think is love, which is not love, because if you knew love within yourself, you would understand that that's not love to be within yourself. So that's why I was like, you had to extract that. And now I'm glad that you hashtag back that up, Michelle, because people are like, what you mean? I'm like,
hashtag back that up on all my
hashtag back that up. Get it, Michelle? Like, get it? Because people think, oh, well, what do you mean? I'm like, I love being blatantly saying, I made a mistake. I made a mistake and I had too many Hershey bars today. I made a mistake and I told someone to get the heck out of my face because I was irritated. I said, if you meet the goddess part of me, the one who understands the intelligence of the creator of all things, you will be like, there is not a hiccup in me to separate from that. If you meet the one who's sitting at home and who just wants to be like not irritated for a moment or something, you'll be like, who is this chick? Like, who is that? I'm not going to curse you out, but at the same time, when people say, man, I'm in love. No, you're not in love with me. You're in love with what works through me to you. And that's what it is. And that's the whole thing. They want that love that we see and we felt and discovered to happen to them. So therefore they attach to us, and we are the messengers. We are the messengers to give that. When you go across seas and travel, you see all these people from these wonderful countries, which I'm envious, and I can't wait to go with you one day. I can't wait to put that in existence. But I'm saying, like, I love the fact that you're out there just getting in the grind mode. Like Michelle Jewsbury is getting into her whole calling and pulling out. And that thing with Paul, aka Paul, going on, definitely, like I said too, my narcissistic, abusing psychotic, it helped us. Unfortunately, all that enduring helped us excel past that. But we recognize, as Michelle was saying, we recognize that in order to do something with it, not staying in the current moment of it. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's exactly what you're saying. And you know what's crazy is that God has given grace, so if we do want to take a couple days, or if we have, done something that we probably shouldn't have done, or if we've hurt ourselves, or if we've hurt somebody else, then when you accept that, and when you repent, yes, but when you accept it and want to make change, we are given grace. Yeah. We don't know why, really. I mean, that's just the way the world is. And so we also have to give grace to other people who are willing to make changes and sacrifices. Yeah. And that's the thing, it's a yin and yang in our world. And we're not playing our world like the game of life is supposed to be played at the moment, but that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. But yeah, you got to give grace to other people. Don't accept them beating you. Of course not. Walk away from situations that are detrimental and harmful to you. But if somebody, lies and says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, and or, they make a mistake and they, ran over your fence and they didn't tell you for 2 weeks or something like that, okay, I got it. Now, fix it type deal.
Exactly.
But we have to be graceful. No, we have to give grace. I guess that's what I'm looking for. But we just have to love, like you were saying. We really do have to lead with love. I mean, we're all humans. We all bleed red. And I mean, we're looking at all these protests right now as well with George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. And all of this is so important. And people need to realize that we all bleed the same color. It doesn't matter what color our skin is, but we're all human beings. We're human race. So, yeah. I mean, it's, there are so many things. And, I'm not perfect by any means. I mean, Lex, thank you for, lifting me up and putting me on this pedestal, but I'm definitely not perfect at all. I make mistakes on a day-to-day basis.
But that's what makes you so perfect, though. That's what makes you so perfect, Michelle, because you're telling your imperfections of not being perfect. So I'm like, you're perfectly imperfect, okay? Hashtag, back that up, hashtag. So
imperfectly perfect. I'll take that. Yes. I mean, that's how we all are, though. And, the biggest thing is you got to give yourself grace. You got to forgive yourself. And forgiveness is the hardest thing to actually learn, whether it be to forgive others, but to forgive yourself. I mean, if you are in an abusive relationship, you go through this period where you just blame yourself. Or if something happened in your childhood, you blame yourself for that, but it's never your fault.
Amen.
You have to forgive. You have to forgive yourself so you can move forward.
Yeah. And people, just for those out there, and this is too also for whoever, the thousands and thousands and thousands of you guys who download, or I don't know if you keep it on your MP3s, you play it in your car. I heard a couple cardiologists say they listen to it on their way to heart surgery, whatever it might be. The whole point is that we're not saying, and I had to, when I saw that, I got a chance to embrace and actually hug and kiss my sexual abuser on the cheek. And I looked at myself and I felt stupid for a moment because I'm like, why am I doing it to someone who has kind of embedded this different kind of seed in me throughout my life? Because no matter what, I'm always going to have flashes and some kind of retrospect. It always brings you back. Just like war scars, veterans come over, one of my friends come back from their tours and they still, even though they've prayed and had their submission into it, they still have little remnants of what happened, but it also helps to ground them to where they are right now. I had to give that forgiveness. And I said, forgiving does not mean you have to forget, but at the same time, you forget the forgiveness. You know, and that's what it is, because people are like, oh, well, that means I'm just trying to tell them what they did to me and accepting it. I said, no, or my boyfriend cheated on me or my wife cheated on me. I cannot forgive her. I'm like, yes, you can, because in order for you to be free, you have to remember she's renting space in your mind and your thoughts for free. You're not getting anything out of it except sadness and miserableness. And she's sitting here going on with her life now. Yeah, she might feel bad from time to time, or he might feel bad, but at the same time, you're living in that whole understanding all the time. And are you living full, and are you going to die empty? Because if you die full, that means you did not put your seeds out there the way they were meant to plant it. And everything that we go through, no matter how difficult it may seem right now, is leading you to the rock that is greater and higher than yourself, as the good book will say. It is definitely to that point where you're like, why am I going through this right now? It's not for you to figure out why you're going through it right now, but just figure out the point of understanding where you are to, quote, recognize it and keep it pushing so you can get to the next grade. Yes, facts.
Yes. And then forgiveness, when you actually forgive, then you set yourself free. I mean, if you hold a grudge against Peter down the street and you think that that is making a significant impact in Peter's life, you are wrong, because Peter doesn't give a crap if you have a grudge against him.
Exactly.
But you do. Like, it's stuck in your brain. So every time his name gets brought up, or anytime you see him at the grocery store, or you walk by his house, you have this resentment feeling inside of you. So you have that taking up space in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. And when you forgive, you get to free up space, and now you can put different elements in that space instead of that grudge, because you have let it go.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, because they don't know you're holding that against them. And other point, and I want to also make a point out there to all you and all the ones who will be listening, all those who are listening, is that it is not someone else's responsibility to take care of your miserableness. And that's why I say too, like, it's not for someone, and that's why I tell them the ripple effect. And I had to do this to a quote phone company. I won't say it because we do have ties with them and they are one of my carriers, but I had one of the representatives on the phone, and I don't know, I just had it that moment. I was like, my coffee got cold, I was irritated, I had another schedule, and I'm like, look, I'm like, you're really irritating me, so please get it fixed. I just ordered this, and then all of a sudden she was just so, and through, my mom always tells me, Lex, through love and kindness have I drawn thee. And, perfect love casts out all fear. And that's what caught me through to actually transition over from where I'm alive now. I've been alive for about 5 years of understanding that. Besides, going to church my whole life and understanding different things, it took me 5 years of basically since that death happened in California for my spirit to be renewed, to understand my relationship within me. So I got a chance to look at that. I'm like, look, hold on. I just want to tell you, I'm sorry. And she kind of like paused on the phone, and she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I want to apologize to you because I don't want you going home and having a bad day because of this phone call and getting into a car wreck. I don't want you being able to argue with your boyfriend or your son or your daughter because you don't know where it's stemming from, because that one little cherry on top keeled you over, and it was me. I said, I am not here to call you and make you have a very miserable day because I'm feeling some type of way. I was like, and after I said that, she said, can I just tell you something? I hope I don't get in trouble. And I said, well, this recorded phone call, okay, speak freely. I want to know. And she goes, you changed my life. And she was like, she goes, I can't believe after working here for 10 years, I've never heard anyone do that. I said, well, I said, that's not my job, is to make you miserable. I need to find out why I'm talking to you the way I am, because there's a problem there. So like, she called me after the call when she got home, and when she called me, she goes, I'm so sorry. I don't want to get in trouble. I know I could get fired for this and I really need my job, but I just wanted to call you and tell you thank you. And is it okay if I text you every once in a while just to get some encouragement? Oh my God. I almost fell to my knees, Michelle. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I said, you can call me 24/7. I don't care. I got you. Like, and if I can't answer the phone, text me. And if I take forever because I am an Aries and we have 99 projects, remember, you are 98 or 97.
There's a phrase, and you probably know this phrase, sticks and stones will break your bones, but names will never hurt you.
Yeah,
and that phrase is so wrong. It's like 180 degrees different wrong, because the words that you use, the words that come out of your mouth, have longer lasting implications on another person than that of even physical and sexual violence.
Oh, yeah.
So your words, your attitude, your emotions can cause other people to completely shift their entire day, week, month, just because you treated them poorly. I remember recently I went to Trader Joe's, and there's a line, of course, to get into Trader Joe's. People are irritated, annoyed, so when I go in, I know it's all social distancing, but I always, hi, how are you? How's your day? And these clerks behind the counter don't get that one-on-one interaction, positive interaction anymore.
No.
One of the guys told me, he's like, yeah, nobody's really nice anymore. Everybody's always on edge and pissed off and grumpy. Well, you got to realize that your attitude reflects, right? You are like a mirror. Your attitude reflects on everybody else around you. So if you're in a big crowd, then that is going to dribble into everybody else's perspectives and attitudes and cause them to have a bad day. So you have to change your attitude. You have to be nice. You have to try sometimes to be nice, but you do.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true, though, because people are very unfriendly. Before, I remember when I went into one of these big chain grocery stores that Mark Wahlberg was supposed to come down and promote his supplement stuff with them. I remember the GM and the human resources director came over. God rest my friend Soul Michelle. She was the manager up there, but she just currently died from breast cancer. But she was up there and she goes, hey, the HR lady wants to talk to you. I'm like, why? Michelle, I'm buying my stuff, And she goes, well, I'm like, what? Does she think I stole a can of tomato soup or what? So she was like, no. She goes, no. So the HR director came over. She goes, hey, do you want to be one of the general managers? I said, why? She goes, because I've been watching you come up here day in and day out, and you always go to the deli, you go over to, the bakery section, you go to the Chinese and the pizza area, you go to the checkout aisles, you go over here, and you purposely stop to sit there, and everyone knows you. The floor department, they know you, and you don't even have anything that you're coming in here for. Like, I basically just grab like one or two items, and she's like, you come out here and you give us that. So one day when I was up there, the customer service, I think her name was Tiffany, she tapped my shoulder and she gave me a bouquet of flowers because she was in floral. I said, I didn't order these. And she was like, no. And I'm like, oh my God, did I want a sweepstake? I got free groceries for a year. I was excited. So all of a sudden she goes, well, you want a different sweepstake. And when the GM came out, Mark was like, we just want to tell you thank you. So the whole store turned around, especially the elders were like, what happened? We want to tell you thank you because you give us sunshine. You change the atmosphere from your energy when you walk in the store. It's not just the espresso day. It's just you. And sometimes I didn't want to go in the store because I felt down. I was like, man, I need to get some stuff, but I just don't have the energy to smile for anyone today. But then by the time I walked past the cash registers, it was like game on. To that point, I felt that. And then I felt 10 times better being able to give it. Because some people would be like, oh, well, Lex, you're talking about smiling at people. I don't have anything to smile about. Well, if you're alive to complain about what you don't have to smile about, obviously you're lying to yourself because you're still alive to complain about it. That's
true.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah, we always want what we can't have.
That is true. I mean, just like Idris Elba, John, Tom Cruise. Of course, I'm mad because I can't have them over for dinner, but and
oh, I love it. To piggyback off of what you were saying, you treat others the way that you want to be treated.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's true. That's the
Definitely.
whole way. So what have you got a chance to see? I mean, because I'm going to have to live life through your eyes at this point. But when you go over to visit all those countries and see the people and the whole traditions, how does it feel?
So there are no pictures, there are no videos that could depict what it is like in a third world impoverished country. The people are absolutely wonderful and amazing. And I love Africa. I love West Africa. That's where I work. And we're in Ghana and Sierra Leone. Like I said, I've been there multiple times. I've also been to Kenya. I've been to Guatemala. I've been to other countries too. But I just love their desire for life. And, you know, we sponsor girls in a vocational training center in Sierra Leone. And I went there to, you know, check on our organization, make sure everything is going well in Sierra Leone in March. And when I was there, one of the girls gave me a chicken. All of the girls made me like dresses. And these are girls who are living on like $2 a day, you guys. And they, you know, a chicken is expensive. And for somebody to take literally their shirt off their back to give it to, I mean, I'm just going to say it, a white privileged woman is just
ooh, hashtag she
right?
said that. She said that.
I did say it. You know, I'm not going to, I mean,
hashtag
I live in the
back that
United
up,
States
Michelle.
of America. You know, and I totally understand what that is and what that label is. And when I go overseas, I don't feel like that, but I recognize the sacrifices that these people that they take, that and their joy. Like, it's so amazing to go to a village and have kids and the villagers welcome you with dancing and music.
Yes.
You know, it's beautiful. It really is. And a lot of what we see in Africa, I mean, besides South Africa, besides parts of North Africa, I mean, all of Africa needs a little bit of help, and it's okay. You know, that's just what it is. But they have all the resources. They are sitting on more resources on the African continent than any other continent in the world. And unfortunately, because of corruption, because of the way the politicians run their countries, a lot of these people are really poor. You know, in Sierra Leone, this last trip, I saw a child who was the size of a newborn baby.
Oh.
And this child was 1 year old.
Oh, no.
Starving to death.
Oh.
And it's mind-boggling to me that I'm sure you have other places that listen to your podcast as well, but you're American citizens that are listening to this podcast. A lot of people think that the United States is the world, and we are not the world. We have, 300 million people, and there's 7 billion people on this planet?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to India. I went to Hyderabad, India. When I was in India, I mean, the population, yes, is so crazy, but I mean, the way that they treat women, the way that we are disregarded, I mean, well, we don't have to get into it, but I was there like a couple years after the whole bus incident where this woman was raped on the bus, and it's just, I saw a population that half and half, you know, half wanted significant change and the other half just didn't give a crap. And there are just so many different worlds out there besides the United States that we all need to come together, and we all need to live as one humanity, and we all need to love each other for who we are and give back to one another. I mean, I'm not talking, you know, Republican or Democrat right now.
Yeah.
I am just talking as a human freaking being and caring for one another and making sure that we can feed the starving children that are on this planet, that we can stop the human trafficking, that we can stop the abuses, that, you know, we teach education. That is what is so important overseas, that we teach what is right and wrong, that we not just bring Western mentality to other nations, but we also listen to the community, and we bring forth what the community asks for. It's so important. I mean, I could go on and on and on, Lex, about this, and I know we've been on for a long time.
You know
already,
what? We also need to have a part 2. Let's be clear, facts. I am so game for that. Like, I mean, I know, you know, we have our schedules, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, I feel like my sister from another mother. Like, that's what it is. But at the same time, it's humanity. And when you said that, I picture, like, people say it's because I wrote, in the past, I wrote fantasy novels and different books, but I still envision every everything you're saying. I'm looking at the ground. I'm looking at the point of someone holding this child that's supposed to be running around, and he's like a little newborn baby because he's malnourished. Yeah. And then that's what people don't see here, where they're always looking at the fact of, because we have Nigeria. I see it, and I can't name them all. Some people give me backlash when they email, well, you didn't name our country. I'm like, well, when I get it, it's like Poland, Germany, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Canada. Like, it's so many countries. I have to Google these countries because I'm like, oh my God, my friend, like London and Turkey and this, and I'm like, okay, then it's this city within this city and within this city. I'm like, wow, in Greece? I'm like, wow, someone from Greece, or at least 1,500 people from that area decided to listen at the same time, and 700 of them downloaded it. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I don't know. Like, people don't understand. I don't look that deep into the levels of, I'm kind of like just, I'm the creative mind. I'm not the whole analytical back end. You know, I'm just kind of like, here we go. Here's the sandwich. I forgot the chips and the soda. I'm sorry. But I mean, like, being able to see that, the humanity and the resources. And someone just had a video up where they're saying, well, you know, Africa's such a rich country and they should. I said, well, when you're designed to have the system work against you, it doesn't matter how many wonderful, valuable resources you have. And they just kicked all the Chinese out, I heard, from them coming over, basically setting up camp to start taking over different properties in Africa. And I was like, this is the richest, like, ground and soil that we have. And if we're not taking care of it, like, how can people sit there? And I feel bad. Even when I throw out 2 scoops of rice, I'm like, man, there is a brother and a sister. And then everyone, I'm probably have like 7 nationalities running through me. I'm just saying, this is a brother, sister of the earth, of humanity, that is sitting here who would have to dig for hours just to even get to the point of where they're eating mud pies in Haiti. I mean, it's crazy.
And we are facing a lot of these challenges in the United States right now. I mean, look at the rioting and the protests that's going on. The protests are good. This is positive, right? The protests, because we want to ignite change. But in the US, I live in Los Angeles. I worked on Skid Row for about 6 months.
Wow.
And the homeless population on Skid Row right now, I think that it went up from 30,000 to almost 60,000 homeless people in Los Angeles on Skid Row.
Wow.
60,000. And I may be off by some numbers, but I know that it almost doubled. And we have to also face the pandemic that is happening in our country as well, but it's worldwide. You know, and it's not just us, it's world, right? But we do need to look after, you know, our backyard as well, you know, and people aren't doing that. We don't know how to fix the homeless crisis. There's, there's not a lot of resources for them, and just like there's not a lot of resources overseas. So, I mean, we're probably 200 years out, if we last that long, of seeing, you know, peace.
Exactly.
I mean, define peace. Peace is when everybody in the world gets along. There's no famine. There's no diseases. I mean, we've got a long way to go, you guys, but we have to start. You know, we have to create that domino effect. Definitely have to make a move now. Do something. Be an advocate for something. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Take a stand for something. Don't just sit at home and watch TV every day.
Yeah, and people get pissed off about that, but they're like, my friends will be like, hey, how far are you from? I'm like, from Minneapolis. I'm like, well, right now where I'm at, I'm in Mayo Clinic Town, Mr. Pence Town, Vice President Pence Town, they call it now. But I'm like, I'm in Mayo Clinic. I'm like, so George Floyd happened about an hour and 15 minutes up the street from my family home. So I'm like, when I sit there and I saw it and I drove downtown, because we have a kind of like a government veteran neighborhood, where we got the family home in like 20 some odd years ago. So when I went down about 3 blocks by one of the churches, all of a sudden I had these ladies, you would just think they were just soccer moms. So they went in there, and I'm thinking when I passed by, I'm like, okay, what are they gonna, why are they looking at me so strange? And she holds her fist up, like solidarity or something. And I was like, okay, she flagging me? And she puts this huge billboard out on her house that has not moved in over a month that says Black Lives Matter. And of course, she had a lot of people throw eggs. She had different things happen. But every time now, I make a notion. Every time I pass by her house, I pause in the middle of the street and I hold my fist up to her. And I just let her know, because it took a lot for her to do that, especially from how she grew up in her neighborhood. It took a lot. And I told him, I'm like, it's not just that, but at the same time, when people can do skits and kids can do skits and say, well, you know, here's everybody's food except yours. It's not about, well, this is not the only life that matters. But no, you cannot have anything with all lives matter if all lives don't matter. I mean, that's what it is. Like, and so people need to, you know, they get so offended. Oh, what do you mean? I'm like, if a kid's sitting at the table and they're saying, hey, Jason's lives matter. Or, well, what about us, Jason? Well, you got your food. Can I get some too? Well, or you're saying I don't need to eat? No, I'm just saying, can I eat too? You know, like that's what it's crazy. Like, you know, come on. And I think, and this lady has said it. She reminded me of Katie Hudson, or what was her name? Goldie Hawn's. That's her name. Oh, she had Goldie Hawn's daughter. She did a video, and she goes, for all the moms out there, she goes, and it made me cry, because she goes, I felt him when he said mama. You know, she's like, didn't you feel that mother cry inside you? And I looked at that, and I'm like, that's what resonated. It was beyond a complexion. It was the point. And I looked at George Floyd, and I was like, you know, rest in peace. But I saw him in every nationality on that ground. I just changed my mind. I'm like, what if he had green eyes or blue eyes or olive skin? It would just bother my soul to know that someone could not breathe or not get that help because they were just there. I mean, I probably would have got shot trying to kick him off of him. I would have probably kicked him off. I'm wild. I would have been like, get the hell off of him. But we don't know if this was meant for the change to spark. I mean, the martyr that it may happen, there's always a ripple effect, you know. Yeah,
that's very true. I mean, look at, you know, Martin Luther King and that whole movement and the peaceful movement, but he was killed. You know, and that was the first part of change in our society, and this hopefully will start to create even more sustainable change, and that's what we need, a sustainable change. I mean, I grew up in North Idaho, and I grew up with a lot of people who still believe in racism, and that is definitely not who I am, and I quickly moved out of that area, but it's a shock to me that in the 21st century, people still see color.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's just something that should never happen.
It's like a pan of cookies. I got baked cookies. That's what my nieces had, these macadamia cookies. And I said, look at these cookies. What's the difference? And she goes, nothing. I said, now put one in the oven a little bit longer. Put the next one in the oven. I said, it's still the same recipe, right? She goes, yes. I said, what changed? She goes, just how much it was cooked. I said, exactly. And my first sweetheart, I mean, even though it was a platonic relationship, he was from Sudan. And he passed away, man, it was like a couple decades ago now, but he passed away from bone cancer. And I remember he came over from there, and he looked like the heart of Africa almost. I could just see it in the depths of him. And he says, Monifa, he called me Monifa, means my loved one. He goes, I did not know that there was these problems here. You know, when we see America on TV, you just think it's okay. But I mean, like, I did not know that you know, I said, I want to know what it is to be able to have, like you said, peace. And that's peace in your home. And some people, and all those who are out there who can't get your rest, I can only imagine how it is. And I know how it is. We know how it is to go to sleep in fear, to wake up in fear. And then you have the fears inside your home where you're supposed to have the peace. And then you leave outside and you still feel more anxiety and more scared because there's no peace out there. No peace, no justice, pretty much. I mean, it must suck. I mean, that's a double whammy. This right here is a bad cocktail of concoctions of stress, anxiety, and feeling that way. You feel like you have nowhere to turn, but just remember, death is not the answer. And at the same time, you know, being able to reach out and say something about it, that is. There's always someone listening now. There's always someone out there to say, hey, I don't know who you are. I hope this email gets to you, or a text message, whatever it might be. But I'm going through some things. And if you could reach out, like the pizza delivery guy was saying, hey, a girl wrote me a note on the receipt that says, please help me. I'm being abused. You know, some way, kind of get your word out there in some shape, way, or form, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly. And all of this is happening in an election year as well. So it's crazy. One of my really good friends, his name is George Chanos. He wrote a book called Millennial Samurai. And the book is all about what we need for the 21st century. And he's very intelligent. He was the former Attorney General of the state of Nevada. So super intelligent, wonderful, charismatic man. Him and his wife are just great people. But he does a lot of blogs, a lot of posts, and he's giving away this book now, you guys. So I think it's millennialsamurai.com, but just Google Millennial Samurai. It's a book. Free download. But there's like 140 chapters, but each chapter is only 2 pages long, and each one of the chapters is about the characteristic that we need to come together as a human race to have peace, and that is inevitably what we all want.
Oh, I like that. I might have to put that out there. I was looking that up. There's different ones. There's different books that I got a chance to get, and some from the past guests like Brian Winch, different ones. And I wanted to put that in some of the care packages that I'm doing, because not only coming out into a whole nother era from behind those walls, people need to be able to have their minds prepared with the right seeds being planted. So yeah, Millennial Samurai is on the list. Tony, put that. Yeah,
exactly.
We need to get that, and too, I need to say, but I love him. Like, I need to get that, because that definitely helps get those battle scars and those wounds out there. So if there's anything, I mean, if you want to come on for a part 2, I am completely open for my sister to come back. Michelle, you ain't got to say 2 words.
I would love to, Lex. And before we do end, I mean, you can find But I Love Him on Amazon. I do want to warn your listeners that when you buy the book and you start reading, it goes into detail about the abuse that I experienced. There's a lot of statistics sprinkled throughout, but it will bring up some PTSD. So if you are triggered, make sure you step away from the book and then come back to it, because I know that a lot of my experience has been other people's experience as well. And if Lex, is it okay if I give something away to your audience?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah, I was just going to ask you, is there anything you want to share or say? Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to give away. So we've created a whole 5-step system to help people overcome a lot of the obstacles that they're facing. And Lex and I, you heard us talking a lot about us talking about recognition. And then there's 4 other steps. So if you want that guide, it's a PDF guide. It's free. But if you're in the United States, all you got to do is text UNITE, UNITE, to 26786, and then you'll get a free PDF guide of the 5 steps to overcome obstacles that can help you during this pandemic, during the protests, during this unknown territory, and to help you uncover and overcome a lot of the trauma that you've experienced in your life as well. And then also my first live event is supposed to be July 11th, so let's keep my fingers crossed and make sure to get tickets for that in Los Angeles.
Oh, come on. I need to go to LA like tomorrow. What's the matter here?
Well, I'm supposed to be in Atlanta in August and also Washington, D.C. in August. So I'm hoping all of that happens as well.
You know what? I can't wait. Look, we need to get together. Stop. I mean, we have to be, because I know people keep saying all these other platforms. That's fine. I mean, I don't downplay Ellen DeGeneres. I don't downplay Oprah. I get it. I don't mind being told to be the next whatever. But at the same time, like, I need to go to, like, just travel and start getting out there more and just giving all the seeds and planting them. Okay. I'm like, I need to
all right, YOLO, right? You only live once.
Yeah, only live
once. Make sure you get it all in. But
yeah.
Lex, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you having me on this. And I really love connecting with you. I definitely would love to come back on and we can talk about, anything.
Yeah, because you know what? You inspire me even more, Michelle, because at the same time, a lot of organizations, it's getting to the point now where I actually have to hire a management or something company to what's going on, because I can't even keep up with anything, and I shut down on my Aries mode when it's too overwhelming for me. So yeah, we definitely need to link up outside of here as well. Anything that we can fuel what we're doing in the mission, and all those who want to be a part of it, we accept accept all that too, but I'm just saying that if you're really up there ready to hashtag speak out, hashtag back it up and back that thing up, let's be honest, let's be real, let's be clear here, because a lot of us get stuck on just a certain level of, okay, well, I'll just reply, or okay, I'll just put a hashtag Facebook post up. But at the same time, life goes beyond social media. We need to really be the social in the media. That's what I'm saying, like the media and the social, and get that out there, because it sparks something. So if you want to find out more, we're going to have Michelle Jewsbury's information at realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com. We're going to have her bio and everything up there for the link, so you can check out more of what's going on with her. And Tony will have that up once he gets everything going on with basically his whole audio magic, he calls it. I don't know. His broadcast and whatever syndication. You can also, too, in the meantime, all the goodies that Michelle mentioned, especially the Millennial Samurai, that stuff sounds bomb. That's www.unsilencevoices.org, and also www.unsilencemyvoice.com, and find out more. And we'll have her information as far as the email and so much more goes. But she does have a quote up here, and I was telling her from the beginning that I like it. And it says, "No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another," by Charles Dickens. And remember that when you want to say something. So thank you, Michelle, for being on here with us and blessing us with your presence. Please come back, because you and I, we already know the lingo here. We know. We'll have part two out there. Part two for that. So remember, everyone, to be the change, feel the passion, embrace the power of the spirit, because it's always working within you, for you, and with you. We love you. You're amazing. And we'll be back with you very, very, very soon.
Awesome.